everyone. What an incredible day. My name is Chanine E. I'm one of the lead student organizers of the Youth Forum Switzerland, and it is my great pleasure to say a few words as we close this amazing event. Before we move on, I would like to draw your attention to some quick housekeeping matters. After I finish speaking at the end of this closing ceremony, could you please assist us in cleanup of the gym by stacking your chairs in groups of 10 at the back. There will be individuals back there to assist you in this. Second of all, if you would like to keep your name tag, you can do so, but please return your lanyard and the plastic sleeve to one of the boxes by the doors, as we would like to reuse these next year. At the end of this day, it's important to take a moment to reflect on what we've learned, but also to consider how we can use our experiences from today as a launch pad for taking action tomorrow. To help stimulate our thinking, we have two final speakers, Jaideep Bansal and grade 11 student Franklin Dury. Jaideep is a global shaper and the energy access leader at GHE, Global Himalayan Expedition. GHE has brought energy access to over 80 villages and 35,000 people in the Himalayas. Jaideep has represented India at the World Economic Forum in Davos, and at Davos 2017, he was featured among the top 10 people who will restore faith in humanity. Please join me in welcoming him to the stage.
Wow. Good evening, everyone. We should be a bit louder than that. Come on. Good evening, everyone. That's much better. Now, first of all, before I begin anything else, I think let's give a huge round of applause to all the students, the faculty, and everyone who has been involved with the Youth Forum Switzerland 2019. Let's give it up for them. It has been such an amazing day of thought-provoking discussions, dialogues, and I sincerely hope that those dialogues convert into actions. I wish I could turn back time and study at this school for the amount of opportunities it offers. Thank you everyone at ISZL for doing this. I would now like to thank my fellow presenters who came from different parts of the world and inspired you by their actions, by what they are doing on a day-to-day basis to make our planet more sustainable for the future. Can we give it up for all the presenters that were here? Now I would like to share two stories with you. The first story is of a woman called Dolma. Dolma is a 35-year-old housewife in a remote village in the Himalayas in the area called Ladakh. Now, when we were electrifying her village back in 2016, she saw us working in the houses, setting up the solar panels, setting up the batteries, and she asked us one thing: can I also do this? Can I also be an engineer and electrify villages with you? We said, why not? But it will take a lot of training. You will have to stay away from your family for a good 6 months to get trained. Are you up for it? You know what she did? When she got confronted with the idea of doing something crazy, she did the best possible thing. She convinced her best friend to do it with her. So both of them, Dolma and Angmo, were trained for 6 months, and they are the Ladakh's first women engineers who have electrified more than 15 households and brought light to 5,000 people living in these remote areas. Closer home, when I say home, that means this very room that we are in. We have this amazing woman called Sophia. She was in the audience last year, listening to the talk that I gave, and she really got inspired that she said, I want to go to these remote communities and bring light to a village. Now, when she got confronted by an idea that was crazy, what do you think she did? She found a best friend, convinced her that it was the best thing they will ever do. And so they both got together and they found a group of students, convinced the teachers, convinced the faculty, convinced the school about this crazy idea of going to the Himalayas to bring light to a remote village. And in October last year, they, along with 7 other students and 2 teachers, flew all the way down to the Himalayas and brought light to a remote village called Shriol and electrified the lives of more than 100 people. Now, when you look at these 2 stories, one thing is for sure. When a woman is determined, she can create a huge positive impact. So don't mess with them. But the other thing is, every day we hear that our planet is in danger, that our world is not really sustainable, that the future is very dark. But I'm an optimistic. And when I look around in the room, I see all of you who have actually given your day and so many hours of your time to be part of this dialogue. So all of you in the audience, please give a big round of applause to yourselves. Because unless and until we are not part of the dialogue, we will not be part of the action. Unless and until you do not hear what the world is doing on a positive trend, you will not maybe start the journey to be positive. Now that brings me to the thing that change is never easy. So when you start on your journey, when you start taking action, it is never easy. You will be confronted, you will face failure, you will feel dejected. But there's a thing called perseverance. If you have the will, and if you really do that promise to yourself that I want to create a world that is sustainable for my generation and for my generations to come, then everything else, every failure, every rejection is just in the side pocket because you are focused on your vision. And your vision is to create a sustainable planet for our future generations. And when you embark on this journey, remember one thing, that as you go on this, our planet, there's only one. And in most of the communities, we say that this earth is our mother. Preserve it, nurture it, for it will give you back a future that is very brighter, very harmonious, very sustainable, but only if we take care of it. But if you do not take care of it, if you do not start taking action from now, from today, there is no tomorrow. So go out there, find what you really want to do, find your passion, link it to sustainability, link it to one of the sustainable development goals, link it to a small action that you can do at an individual level, because no government, no NGO is going to solve our world's problems. It is us as a collective future citizens, as a collective global citizens of this world that will solve the problems and that will ensure that our planet has a sustainable future. So go out there, take action, and in fact, let me do that right now by asking all of you, how many of you want to reverse climate change? I only see hands up. I need to hear a hell yes. How many of you want a future that is sustainable for not just your generation, but for the future generations? You have done the closing speech for yourself. I have nothing else to say, but I will end on this note that let the warming happen in your hearts and let the change happen in your actions. Thank you, everyone.
Good afternoon. First off, thank you so much, Jaideep. I mean, I can't even begin to say how much you just stole my speech. My name is Franklin Lurie, and I'm an 11th grade student and a member of the YFS team. Last October, I had the great fortune to go on one of the trips organized by Jaideep to the Himalayas. Above all, the expedition revealed to me the power we have to combat one of humanity's most pressing issues, climate change. Now, as we heard at the beginning of the day, we're running out of time. The most recent climate projections suggest that at our current rate of emissions, we'll surpass a 1.5 degree increase in global temperatures by as early as 2030, with catastrophic effects and irreversible damage to our planet and its ecosystems. We've read the headlines, heard the news, and know of the efforts that many countries are making to limit carbon emissions on a national level. But unfortunately, many of these discussions are just that, discussions. Global leaders have been talking for years, but we've only seen limited changes. Many of us feel powerless to do anything. Change is scary, uncomfortable, and for many, change means sacrifice. Can one person have an effect against climate change anyways? The truth is, as Jaideep just told us, power doesn't lie entirely with the leaders of nations. But power also exists within each individual in this room. We also have the responsibility to solve the problems the world faces. But we shouldn't see these problems as burdens, but rather as opportunities. As a younger generation, we should embrace challenges like climate change as an opportunity to innovate, not a reason to sit back and watch our planet burn. It's up to us to decide what is written in the history books for our generation. That's why this year, we decided to innovate and take action. I'm proud to announce that today marks the launch of the ISL Carbon Credit Fund. Everyone here, everyone at our school, and every family in the ISL community has a carbon footprint. On the website for the Carbon Credit Fund, you can calculate your family's carbon footprint, find tips and tricks to reduce it, and projects to offset the remaining carbon you can't eliminate. The best part is, it's really easy to do. For example, to offset your family's car footprint for an entire month costs less than 13 francs. And removes 5.3 tons of carbon dioxide from the atmosphere each year. That's less than half a franc a day. A flight to London costs only 10 francs to offset. And to offset my family's entire carbon footprint costs only 30 francs a month. Now, I'm not great at math, but that's 1 franc a day. And I know I can afford that, and I don't have a job. By contributing your calculated footprint offset to the fund, we'll use the money for projects across the globe and here at ISL to reduce and offset our carbon emissions. Here are some of the possible projects we're looking to tackle in the short term. We're looking into electrifying our entire bus fleet of 35 buses, removing potentially hundreds of tons of carbon dioxide from the atmosphere each year. But aside from projects on a local level, we're going to take on projects on a global scale as well. Not only are we going to continue installing solar panels in the Himalayas, but PDWs to Ghana, South Africa, Tanzania will also begin similar programs, offsetting carbon in rural and developing areas and benefiting the local communities. But why should we stop here? We have 16 schools at the forum this year, and there's no reason why we can't work together. For those schools interested in joining us on this mission, we welcome the prospects the Carbon Credit Fund has to offer for collaborative projects and community building experiences. Together, we can solve this problem. Now, you've heard some of our ideas, but any student in this audience can submit project proposals and lead an offset project. The team responsible for overseeing the fund will involve students, parents, staff, and administrators to incorporate a range of ideas from across the ISL community. They'll also be responsible for overseeing non-monetary carbon reduction projects throughout the school community to further reduce our environmental impacts. The Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change has given us 12 years to reduce the entire world's footprint by 50%. If they can do that in 12 years, there's no reason why we shouldn't be able to reduce our school's entire footprint by 100% in 3 years. That's why, as you've heard today, we can't just stop climate change. We have to reverse it. That's why we've set a goal to become carbon neutral within 3 years, and by the time the current grade 9s graduate in 2023, a further goal to become carbon negative. This will make us not only the first school in Switzerland to do this, but one of the first schools in the world to become carbon negative. It's big. It's a big project, but it's worth doing. And we have the means and the tools to do it. We'll be formally launching the Carbon Credit Fund before the February break, but in the meantime, we're asking everyone in this audience to calculate your footprint, reduce it through efficiency and offsets, propose marches and community events to make us the first carbon negative school in Switzerland. Now, I'm going to tie this back to what Jaideep said as well. I'd like to thank Ian in grade 12 for being that crazy friend who decided to do this with me, and the entire innovation team for their tireless efforts in helping make this initiative become a reality. We have the solution, but it's up to you to take action. It's up to you to decide what future you want. Thank you.
Thank you, Franklin and Jaideep, for your inspirational words. Those of you who sat in this hall last year might remember that our closing speaker, Leonardo Petrucci, posed us a question. He asked us, what's next? Well, I'm confident that we've begun to answer exactly that question. Our two final speakers have really captured the heart of what the Youth Forum stands for. Jaideep reminded us ever so clearly about the need to do more than just talk, the need to take action, and Franklin's response, the launch of the ISL Carbon Credit Fund and Project in the Himalayas, are perfect examples of how YFS have catalyzed the quest for change. To think that we could launch something that helps our community move towards carbon neutrality with the ultimate goal of going carbon negative is truly inspiring and something we are incredibly proud of. Together, as an international community of young people, we have laid down a marker and are proving that the Youth Forum Switzerland is not just about words, but also about actions. What you have experienced today would simply not have been possible without the support and generosity of several groups and individuals. I would like to thank the ISL Fund for Excellence and all of the school donors for their significant financial contributions to this event. I would also like to thank Mr. Barry Khan, our school director, and Mr. Eddie Wexler, our high school principal, for their continued support of this inspiring event. I would like to thank the ISL staff and teachers who guided and supported us throughout this entire process. Now, I would like to move on to thanking you, the audience. Exploring sustainability issues during your exceptional participation in today's discussions, for connecting with each other in meaningful interactions, for your support of our zero waste initiatives, and for your many inspiring tweets, thoughts, questions, and ideas to illuminate the many global issues surrounding sustainability. You all even got the hashtag YFS2019 trending on Twitter in Switzerland today. That's incredible. Today's event may be over, but we don't want your relationship with the Reform Switzerland to end. In the following weeks, videos and media of the panels, talks, and overall event will be going live on our YouTube channel and website. So please follow these and stay connected on social media so that we can keep the conversation going. Now, I would like to move on to recognizing two very important groups of individuals without whom the event would have not been possible. Firstly, we all need to thank our fantastic speakers and panelists. And knowledge, expertise and experiences with us all. It is your presence and ideas that have made this day possible. Could I please ask you to join me on stage? And now, thank you to the individuals who sacrificed countless hours of their time to build and curate this event. We've been on quite a journey leading up to today. We've had our ups, our downs, but I believe I can speak for the team in saying that we are incredibly proud of what we have delivered today. So please join me in welcoming the YFS student team to the stage. Finally, I'd like to come back to this idea that the future is ours. It is the young people in our society who must find solutions to the problems that we face in the future. We've posed the questions and have been discussing solutions, but it's up to us to act on them. This is our future that we're talking about. Thank you.